Okay, so yes, I did buy this. Oh my god, it's so pretty. Hi friends! So welcome to another video. For those of you that are new here, my name is Christine and I post videos about journaling, stationery, books, media, crafting, planning, things of that nature in kind of the creative artistic realm. And today I have something that's really, really exciting because I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and it has finally arrived. And that is the PaperTess planner that I ordered for next year, which I am currently thinking of making my media journal for next year. It finally arrived today. I was the whole day unable to think about anything but the fact that this was arriving, just kind of looking out the window, trying to see when USPS was passing by. And so, yeah, I'm really, really excited. I already went in and cut this little section here. And yeah, come participate in this unboxing with me. So it hasn't been very long that I've known about PaperTess. I think maybe a few weeks. But I'm pretty confident in this planner. My only fear with it is the thickness of it. And I'll explain that as soon as I unbox it. But so I think that makes sense. Oh, it's wrapped so prettily, and I totally messed this up. But oh, look at the little cat. We recommend reusing this box. I wish I could, but I did destroy it. I'll leave this here so I can throw in the packaging. I love this tissue paper. And I do reuse tissue paper a lot. Let's see, is my address on here? No. And I went back and forth on whether I wanted to get the green one or the sand. So I believe this one is called Sage, and the cream colored one, beige colored one, is called Sand. Just a little note to say thank you. This is such a pretty little card. Oh, I love the feel of that. I wonder what kind of material that is. Love that. Okay, so let's see. My address is in here, so I'll go ahead and skip forward after I've moved this out of the way. Okay, so yes, I did buy this. Oh my god, it's so pretty. Let's get this out of it. It is plastic. Little ASMR break for you guys. Oh, wow. I love soft cover books so much. So yeah, it is thick. And I'm gonna do a walkthrough of this little baby, or not a walkthrough, a flip through. I'm sorry. Where I work, we do walkthroughs, and so I always find myself saying that. But yes, a flip through. And then I'm also gonna go ahead and compare the sizes with the Hobonichi Weeks, the Hobonichi Avec, the A6, and a standard traveler's notebook, which are the sizes that I have available to me. So I figured I would go ahead and compare that because this is a B6 size. Oh, I love it so much. It's so pretty. I love this green color. Ooh, okay. So let me organize up here and let me zoom you in. Okay, so this is the B6 full year edition. You can see that it has some engraving on the front. Chapter 24, My Yearly Notebook, and then B6 Full Year Edition. It is fairly thick, but it is the full year. And it is very malleable. This is the sage color. They have two options, two colors for this planner, the sage and the sand, and I have the sage one. So opening up, you get this notebook belongs to, and then you have two blank grid pages. Get you back in frame, there we go. You have two grid pages, blank pages, and then you get into your yearly overview, which is your Calendex type scenario. So you don't get, let's see, I don't believe you get, yeah, exactly. You don't get like your traditional just like yearly page with just the months. You get this same concept, but you have squares underneath, which I absolutely love. And then let me go ahead and just zoom in a little closer so that you can appreciate this beautiful font. A lot of people call this very romantic feeling notebook, and I will agree. I love this font combination. Sometimes people will talk about like, oh, why is there different kinds of fonts? And it's just because it's aesthetically pleasing. As long as you have 2 or 3 fonts, it's absolutely fine. It becomes a problem when you have like a million fonts, but a serif and a sans serif, I think that they look really good together, and this is a perfect example of it absolutely working. Okay, so then you get this page, and then you go into your quarters. You have 2 sets of pages for that. Love that. So this is similar to your Hobonichi one, right? Where you have the year at a glance, right? Let's find you a page that I can show here. Right, similar in that aspect. But no random colors, it's just a light gray. Then you get 2 more pages, blank pages. You get your December monthly, 2 more pages, and then you start the year. So the way that this is different from, and I'm sure you might have seen this already, but the way that the PaperTess Designs B6 is different from, let's say, like a Hobonichi or a common planner, is that you have everything kind of living together. Instead of having all your months first, then your weeks, then your dailies, you get them in little sections, right? So you have your monthly, you have 2 blank pages to kind of dashboard, and then you have your weeks, right? So you have your weeks, and then you have 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages for your dailies or whatever you want. They are undated, so you can essentially use them for whatever you want. But if you wanted to use them for dailies, you could. And then you get to your next week, so on and so forth, right? So you have your week, you have your 7 daily pages, and then your next week. And then you keep going that way. And then eventually you will reach the next month. Then you start all over again. You have your monthly, you have 2 blank pages, and then you have your weeklies and your respective daily pages. So I absolutely love that. And I will be making a video on how I'm going to be using this. But so once you have you're finishing up December, I believe you get January, the January monthly, right? So you get, you got your January monthly, and then 2 pages, and then you get an index reference page and some additional note pages. And these note pages are numbered. So you get 25, 27 note pages. Aside from all of the additional pages that you get inside each respective week. So I'm really excited that everything kind of lives together. And that way you're not having to flip back and forth. I've seen a lot of people talk about how that's what they really like about this planner, is that they're not having to flip back and forth between everything. They kind of are able to live within one section of their planner at a time. And that is awesome to me. I love the feel of the page. I love the font. You do get your days, and then you get your week number up here. And let me just put this up here so you can see. So you get your month, year, your week number, and then your days. Very, very nice. Love that. Love it, love it, love it. And it does lay flat. Obviously, towards the beginning of the notebook, since there's so many pages, you do have to kind of like push it down. But like, for example, let's see. Yeah. You can just use an aid to put it down. It's not a big deal. But it does lay flat right from the get-go. You know, no issues there. Obviously, once you get to the corners, it makes sense. You know, there's like a lot of space. You can bend it all the way back. I am a little worried about it expanding since it is already so chunky. But if anything ends up happening to the spine, which, by the way, let me show you the spine. Ooh, over here. So pretty. So chapter 24, the yearly notebook, B6, full year edition 2024, PaperTess Designs. So if the spine did end up happening where it like comes loose or anything, I don't mind just like cutting off this area and rebinding it at the end of the year. But we shall see, to be determined. So let's do some sizing comparisons, right? So this is the B6 next to the A6, right? And obviously I can't really show you like what it looks like without being used, but you can see there is a significant difference in thickness. And then this is the cousin Avec A5 size. And so you can kind of see that kind of progression between the A6, the B6, and the A5. And let me turn this around so it's a little easier to see. And this is the Avec, obviously, so this is a split. This is not the cousin. The cousin is much thicker, but just for reference. And then to me, or actually before I even go to the weeks, let's do the standard TN size. Right, and so it is thicker, or not thicker, but wider than the standard TN, but also shorter, right? And then, I mean, obviously there's no competition with the thickness. This is a booklet and this is a full book. But that's your sizing in terms of length and width. And then for me, my most important comparison is the weeks, because I currently use the weeks as a media journal. And I had originally planned on continuing in a weeks mega for next year before I found the PaperTess Designs. So this is what my weeks looks like now after having been chunked up. And it is about, no, it's not even close, but it has chunked up quite considerably, right? And then it is honestly almost as tall as the weeks. It's not much difference, right? And this has the clear cover. I don't know if you can see. The weeks is just slightly taller. And obviously wider. But it is not much shorter. It maybe let's see. So it's maybe a centimeter, half an inch. A centimeter? A little less than a centimeter, right? A little less than a centimeter taller. And then this is the mega, right? And yeah, it's about like the thickness of 2 megas, which actually we can confirm because I have 2 megas. So yeah, almost 2 megas are still thicker. So like a mega and a half, a mega and a regular week's thickness, not even. Yeah, give or take. So the reason I'm considering the Papertess design over the weeks is because currently, let me go to, I haven't shown the spread, so we can show this one. Currently, my memory keeping system involves a put this to the side, includes a Hobonichi weeks for my media tracking, the companion insert for additional art spreads, and my weekly vertical for my personal memory keeping. Now, when I used to do memory keeping, or when I used to do this kind of similar tracking back in 2021, I had a digital calendar and I would keep track of like my day-and-day activities in kind of this vertical weekly formatting where it's kind of like bullet points and kind of listing what's happening in the day versus like a daily essay type format that you would do in like an Avec or an A6 with like your daily pages. I would do my memory keeping and my media journaling all in one calendar digitally. And additional to that, something that I was experiencing with my media journal in the weeks, when I first did backlogging, let me see, I can show you an example. Yeah, so for example, this page, right? I was able to log the things that I was watching. In this case, I was rewatching a Taiwan class, and kind of images that I had been collecting that were relevant to that week. And I was able to paste them. But since starting to do it on a weekly basis and I'm logging as I am watching or reading things, I want to write down my thoughts. And so that doesn't leave any space for pasting in the found images that I'm coming across or things like that. So that's one of the reasons why I ended up creating the media companion, so that I can do that. Also, to be able to add things like my Receiptify spreads and things like that. And then also be able to add kind of like a log of all the visuals of the movies that I'm watching and things like that, right? And so it essentially becomes a 3-book system currently with a lot of separation. And I am someone who does need to compartmentalize certain things. But when it comes to my day-to-day life and my media journaling, to me, that goes hand in hand, because a lot of, and I've explained this in another video, which I'll link above. It was a journal with me, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of my memories are tied with the media that I'm consuming at the time. And so to me, they shouldn't be separate. And when I saw the Papertess designs, right, let me kind of keep this over here in frame. When I saw the Papertess designs, so for example, this spread, right, the Calendex, I'm thinking that I will transfer this spread into here. right? Where I track pixels of the things that I'm consuming. So here I track, when I've read a physical book, an audiobook, or electronically, and when I watch TV shows, movies, or both. Which is a year glance at what I track on a weekly basis, right? Because I do the same thing over here in the corners, right? I track that on a weekly basis. So I can transfer that into this spread, is what I was thinking. And then for this blank page, I can put in my monthly stats, right? Like I can put in my Receiptify for the month, right? I can put my Receiptify in there, and I can put the images of the movies, shows, and books that I've read in their respective month. And then I can go ahead and continue tracking in the similar way that I've already been doing within the weeks, right? In here, while also having space to add images or journal about, what's been going on in my week, and it all stays within its respective week. So I'm really liking the idea of doing this. I think that having it all in one book will really work. And again, my only fear of that is just how chunky it's going to get. But I'll never know until I try. So that is my plan for that. Something I did want to show now that I did that, so that we can have a reference here. So the weekly tab is smaller here, right? And is it thicker? Let's see. So for the weekly and the Hobonichi weeks, we're talking about 2 centimeter in height and 2 centimeter in height. So same height. And then length, we're talking about 7.5-ish. 7.5-ish. Give or take, 7.5-ish. And this one is about almost 6. So we're talking about almost 2 centimeters difference. So this one is smaller in terms of width than the Hobonichi weeks. So just something to keep in mind if you're considering this one. I might have to rethink how I do that, because I do end up sometimes writing a lot. Right, so like for example, here is just one, but sometimes a day can get really full. Like this is a full day that kind of like ran into the next one. So either I learn to write smaller, which I already write pretty small, or I'll figure another way to do it. But anyways, that's the unboxing and kind of like what I am thinking about, how I'm thinking about using it. I'm going to think it over a little more. I'm going to be getting a clear cover soon and the tabs. So I will be setting this up. And as soon as I know how I'm going to be using this, then I'll be able to record my 𝙘𝙧𝙚𝙧𝙚, because I was waiting on receiving this to figure out what I was going to end up doing with my week's mega. So keep posted for that. That 𝙘𝙧𝙚𝙧 will be coming soon. Thank you so much for joining me through this unboxing. I hope that it was informative, that you were able to get something out of it. And yeah, I will catch you in the next video. Bye.